Many years ago, the mortal realm was attacked by the demon lord and his army. The only one who could stop them was the legendary god of war. While the god of war easily killed some demons, he was suddenly attacked from behind by the demon lord Mara, and this led to his body to disintegrate into 72 fragments. The other gods, helpless without the god of war's help, desperately decided to seal themselves along with the demons to prevent further havoc. However, as a result of this, the 6 realms are no longer under the protection of the gods, and many demons are now ruling over the lands. Many years later, somewhere in the lower realm, 2 brothers cower in fear as they take shelter in a house. As the house begins to collapse, the older brother named Yuan puts his little brother named Kuch-chan in a basket, and he carries him outside Tenjiro style. He runs outside to his father, who is battling a red demon giant called Asura, and their father, who looked like someone that couldn't afford proper clothes, fights the demon while protecting his children using his staff. Dumb Yuan mindlessly heads over to his father's aid, bringing his small brother under fire by his idiocy. The father transforms the staff into a nunchuck and uses it to strangle Asura, but the demon proves to be strong as he breaks the chains of the nunchucks. However, the father uses this to his advantage as he uses the pieces of the staff to create a trap that holds the demon in place, while the father uses another powerful technique that effectively creates a fist in the ground that crushes Asura. The father regroups with his children and he leads them to another place while the giant is immobilized. They reach a secluded cave where the father begins to make Naruto hand signs to activate a hidden place with 2 swords that were stuck into 2 pillars respectively. The father pulls one sword out while Yuan pulls the other, and doing so brings forth a golden box which the father hands to Yuan while instructing him to pass down the golden box to the younger brother Kuch-chan when he grows older. The father also hands the 2 swords from the pillar to Yuan, stating that he was now well trained and could possibly become the best demon hunter worthy of the swords. As the ground begins to shake, the father takes his children further into the cave where there were barrier charms to prevent demons from coming close. However, the demon Asura was pretty strong as he easily entered from the roof of the cave. Despite Asura's overwhelming strength, the father regains the upper hand as he uses the surrounding ceiling artifacts to trap Asura for good. The father then tosses the caged Asura into the lava below, successfully defusing the threat. The children let out a sigh of relief when suddenly they hear a bell tinkle, and instantly a hand pierces through the father's chest. As the father gets the Rengoku treatment, Yuan watches in horror as his father was bodied by a demon woman who had somehow made it past the placed barriers. In a last-ditch attempt to save his soon-to-be fatherless children, the father invokes a spell that teleports the 2 kids away, leaving the demon angered. The scene then cuts to a time skip, where we see now grown-up Yuan instructing Kuch-chan to dress up in a gecko outfit for an important task. Somewhere else, a bald priest demon hunter takes on a job to drive a spirit away from a haunted house. According to him, the house was haunted by a 1,000-year-old gecko demon. Hearing this, the house owner runs away in fear and reassures the priest that he would pay him to exorcise the demon. Seeing the owner run away leaving behind a pee trail, the priest casts a Hitler spell that summons his weapon, and he uses the weapon to reveal the gecko that was hiding. He then unintentionally slashes his gecko's neck, which causes him to panic as the gecko was supposedly the priest's friend. The decapitated gecko approaches the scared priest, and Yuan uses this opportunity to suddenly knock the priest out from behind. After being unconscious for a while, the priest finally awakens only to find Yuan and Kuch-chan standing before him. The priests ask who the 2 brothers were, but Kuch-chan, who was actually dressed as the gecko, ignores his cries and reveals that the priest was using the gecko demon to run his scams. Apparently, the priest was acting as a demon hunter, and his accomplice, the gecko demon, scared unsuspecting people, and these people would then call out for the imposter priest for help, not knowing any better. The priest further elaborates that he had a beautiful face which he used in order to claim himself as the reincarnation of Buddha, thus successfully fooling gullible people that gave money to his scam. Seeing that the priest was awfully prideful of his face, Yuan decides to teach the guy a lesson by hiding his face in that very gecko costume. In the following day, Yuan holds a small ceremony to officiate his brother Kuch-chan's role as a demon hunter. Yuan also proceeds to hand Kuch-chan the golden box that their father had left him with many years ago. Kuch-chan opens the box only to find a small metal rod, which surprises him as he was expecting something more grandiose. Nevertheless, he accepts the rod as it was something that his father left him with before dying, thus holding much more sentimental significance. While Kuch-chan was inspecting the rod, an old man rushes to the house of the the two brothers and asks Yuan to help the Yuanlai town that was now covered in mist, which was causing the townspeople to disappear once they enter it. According to some rumors, the cat demon was behind the mist, and hence the old man who was the mayor of that town needed the help from demon hunters that knew their stuff. Despite the old man's pleas, Yuan refuses to help as he thinks that the guy was trying to trick the two brothers into dangerous situations, when suddenly Yuan hears the jingle of a bell, causing him to remember the same ringing of a bell when his father died. Yuan immediately looks back, and sure enough he finds the same bell in possession of the old man. After inquiring about the bell from the man, Yuan changes his mind and decides to inspect the town for himself, as the demon there could answer questions about the bell and supposedly be linked to his father's death. While making his way to the heart of the town, the fog begins to thicken, causing Yuan and Kutch-chan to lose track of one another. Yuan looks around and notices the cat demon trailing him, prompting him to threaten to kill her if she wouldn't tell him the origins of the bell. The cocky demon doesn't heed Yuan's warnings and tries to strike him down. After receiving a few blows, Yuan decides to get serious as he uses his Beyblade technique to spin furiously, which causes the cat demon to fall down from the airlift. Yuan asks her about the bell, and the cat demon reveals that she found it by luck and hence she was unaware of its origin. Seeing herself defeated, the demon tries to play the women card by exposing her frail body, but Chad Yuan gives the cat the taste of gender equality by slicing her without even facing her. Yuan then rushes to Kutch-chan, who was fighting the brother of the cat demon. Yuan decides to lay back and watch Kutch-chan in action as he was confident in his brother's skills. Kutch-chan initially seems to be having the upper hand, but later in the fight the demon breaks Kutch-chan's staff, leaving him defenseless. Yuan finally decides to help his brother as the situation seemed dire, but he stops when he notices that the metal rod from the golden box begins to shine in Kutch-chan's hands, and Kutch-chan uses the illuminating metal rod to strike at the demon, which pierces through the demon at lightning speed. The attack sends ripples across the 6 realms, even reaching the killer of Kutch-chan's father, who realizes that the weapon from the golden box was now activated. It is revealed that the metal rod was actually a powerful golden staff. However, the demon was still alive as he was a cat, and cats are known for having 9 lives. Seeing that Kutch-chan was unconscious after pulling off that throw, the demon tries to yank the staff out from his chest, only to be approached by Yuan, who was there to ask about the bell. As the demon was acting cocky, Yuan threatens to end his other 8 lives, which causes the demon to finally reveal that the bell was given to him by Sumair, who had told him that Yuan and Kutch-chan would eventually come looking for the bell. Yuan tries to inquire more about this Sumair person, but the ring of the bell had entranced the demon, who begins to repeat only one sentence, which was that he would kill the demon hunter and retrieve the soul fragment. Suddenly, the bell begins to spin furiously as the demon continues to repeat the same sentence, and the bell then goes inside the demon's mouth. Seeing the demon blowed up, Yuan carries unconscious Kutch-chan to safety as the demon explodes because of the bell. Somewhere in the celestial realm, 2 people are watching Yuan and Kutch-chan on a screen, and they finally decide to teleport near the 2 brothers as the demon has died. Kutch-chan, who was unconscious for a while, awakens to the sight of a huge crater left behind by the demon exploding. Kutch-chan sees his staff near the crater and he heads on over to retrieve it, only for it to turn small once again. At the same time, the 2 people from before who were watching the brothers from a screen appear in person, and they tell the brothers that Kutch-chan's staff didn't actually belong to him. One of them pulls out a device that scans the rod in Kutch-chan's hand, and it is confirmed that it was what they were looking for, and it was called the Shen-gen iron. The 2 strangers demand Kutch-chan to return the iron rod, but Yuan refuses to comply with their demands as he pulls out his swords in retaliation. However, the explosion from before had made him sustain some internal injuries, thus Yuan was unable to stop the 2 strangers. The girl from the strangers duo gets worked up as Yuan begins to make fun of her pig mask, but the guy from the team intervenes as he informs Yuan that they didn't have any malicious intentions. To prove this, the guy opens his advanced tablet and invokes a spell that allows him to heal Yuan's internal injuries. Realizing that the guy actually meant no harm, Yuan asks why they wanted the Shen-gen iron. Tired by Yuan's hesitation, the pig mask girl unveils her mask and she reveals her pretty face, causing Yuan's small wee-wee to rise like the Shen-gen iron. She tells him that the Shen-gen iron was actually rightfully hers and did not belong to the brothers. Unbeknownst to Yuan and Kutch-chan, the guy reveals that the Shen-gen iron was once used by the god of war, who was the strongest warrior of the god race. The brothers are shocked to hear this, as the god of war was a very notable and strong figure in the past. The guy then further reveals that he and the girl were envoys from the Celestial Realm's fairy clan, and his name was Sarah, while the pig girl was called Ju, and both of them were immortals. Furthermore, the god of war mentioned before had disintegrated into 72 fragments, so Sarah and Ju had come to the lower realm as they were trying to revive all of those pieces to unlock the seal made by the gods a century ago. The key to finding the soul fragments was the very iron rod in Kutch-chan's hands, as it could track God's essence, and hence the two fairy clan members were trying to retrieve the iron rod. Yuan is still persistent on keeping the Shen-Gen iron with himself, as he believes that he could find the killer of his father with the weapon. Noticing this, Sero continues his lore dump by revealing that the Shen-Gen iron was a divine weapon crafted by the god of creation, and hence the ripples sent by its activation reverberated through the 6 realms. This was bad news, as the demons were also after the Shen-Gen iron because they, like Sero's desire to free the gods, also desired to free the demon lord known as Mara from the seal, and hence it was a race between the two sides to get to the fragments first before the other. Seeing that Yuan was still not convinced, Ju had enough of the BS as she pointed her cannon at the brothers, threatening to blow them up like the Twin Towers. Sero advises her to stop acting impulsively, and so Ju tries to spoon-feed Yuan the gravity of the situation. Without the Shen-Gen iron, the lower realm along with the other 5 realms were facing a future of chaos, and the soul fragments were necessary to revive the god of war, who was the only one capable of defeating the demons. Convinced, Kutch-chan finally gives the Shen-Gen iron to Ju, who is thankful for his selflessness. However, as Kutch-chan and Yuan were leaving, Ju angrily shouts at the 2 bumpkins as the Shen-Gen iron handed to her was clearly fake. Kutch-chan is surprised, and so he takes it back, only for it to change color back to golden, which was clearly what the real Shen-Gen iron looked like. Ju realizes that the Shen-Gen iron had somewhat chosen Kutch-chan as its possessor, and Sero further corroborated this by revealing that only a person with a pure heart can activate the iron, so the pure-hearted Kutch-chan was its new owner. Having not foreseen this predicament, Ju asks Kutch-chan and Yuan to follow them on their journey to collect the other fragments, as they had no other choice. Using his tablet, Sero casts a spell that summons an advanced vehicle for their journey to the first soul fragment, and the brothers agree to tag along. Immediately upon entering the vehicle, Yuan and Kutch-chan begin to pig out on the food like a starving African kid on Thanksgiving. Ju is baffled to see that their appetite was rivaling Luffy's, and she begins to whine like a female dog because the brothers had no table manners. Yuan roasts her by telling to eat like them because she was flat as a surfboard, which causes Ju to crash out. Just then, a warning signal appears on the vehicle's screen as an obstacle obstructs the path. The vehicle automatically evades the obstacle, which turns out to be a purple-haired lady, but the vehicle loses balance and starts rolling like Princess Diana's limousine. The vehicle was advanced though, and nothing was harmed. Yuan heads out to inspect and finds the purple-haired lady nearby. On a closer look, he realizes that the lady was hurt, and hence he rushes her back to the vehicle. However, Ju was hesitant on letting a stranger on board, but Yuan thinks that Ju was just jealous because the lady had more jiggle physics than Ju. After arguing a lot, Yuan eventually takes the lady into the vehicle and patches her up. The lady, who reveals herself to be Zing, is grateful, and she then reveals that she was passing nearby the day before when suddenly she was approached by bandits that stabbed her in the abdomen. Zing got lucky and used the first chance to escape the bandits, but due to her injuries, she couldn't run far, which is why she was lying on the ground in the morning. She requests Yuan and his friends to take her to the Dark Canyon, which was coincidentally where the group was headed. Yuan agrees to help as he tells her that he and his friends were after the soul fragments that were located by the help of the Shen-Zen rod. Ju crashes out once again as Yuan was revealing secret information to outsiders that they had barely even known. As it was getting late, Sero called it a night as he advised his friends to rest for the big day tomorrow, as they were to journey towards the Dark Canyon. At night, Yuan begins to dream about undressing Zing. At the same time, Zing was awake while everyone else seemed to be asleep. Zing, using the power of her ring, squirts out a white fluid at Kutch-chan in an attempt to steal the Shen-Gen rod. But unexpectedly, Kutch-chan swats the web-like substance away, causing it to stick on Yuan's crotch. With the unexpected landing, Zing is creeped out to see that Yuan was actually enjoying having that wet web on his thingy. As if she hadn't had enough of perversion from Yuan, Sero suddenly appears all nude from his shower. Zing immediately retracts her web and acts as if she was sleeping while trying not to look at Sero's hot bod, and Sero realizes that he had entered the wrong room instead of his own. The next morning, Ewan wakes all happy as he thought he was getting the Gok Gok 3000 in his dreams. However, his happiness is suddenly turned to panic as he is told about Ziying's sudden disappearance from the premises. At the same time, Kuch-chan reveals that he no longer had his Shenzhen rod with him, which causes Zhu to crash out once again. Somewhere else, Ziying approaches a hidden cave to turn